Hey, it's Jerry. We're going live now. We're doing a webinar on my lessons with Tony Robbins. We're just about to start, so just give me a minute. We're just doing the final introductions and setting things up. And I'm muted. I'll be with you in just a second. Lots of people from around the world on this webinar where I'm going to teach about the lessons I learned from Tony Robbins. Pay attention. This is our webinar going live.
For jumping on a few minutes early here because it is going to be very busy in this webinar room.
I'm excited to see if this all works. We're doing live with hundreds and hundreds of people online and with you guys on Facebook. We'll see how that works.
People ask, how can it be sold out? Well, the license that GoToWebinar gives us maxes out a certain number of seats. And we've been running up against that max now for quite some time. So congratulations for getting it. You're in. You're secure, your seat has been reserved, and you're in for a treat today. I'd like to say that Jerry has never done this kind of webinar before. We're going to start here, folks, by the way, in just about 30 seconds. Jerry's never done this kind of webinar before. This is the first time, and maybe very well the last time. He's doing this as a favor to Tony, and really to thank Tony for all the help Tony's provided Jerry over the years as being one of Jerry's great mentors, and this is going to be incredible. Folks, like I said, my name is JG, and I am the CEO of Blackheart Books, and you saw my book there. My book is called Messy Manager, Where Leadership
He's
Where
really,
Counts,
really good.
and I'm proud to be
He's
your
my
host
CEO.
today. It's going to be a fantastic webinar. Now,
We're about ready to start.
Tony
People are coming in. Jump on.
And they're continually crossing paths. And actually, at most of the big stages that Tony speaks on, Jerry speaks right before him. That's because they need the best speaker to warm up the crowd for Tony. That's why they put Jerry on right before. So it's going to be an incredible webinar here. And we're going to start in about 30 seconds, folks. I'm just letting a few more people come on in. And then we're going to get started. Jerry is just putting his headset on, and he's going to be unmuted. Now, folks, I do want to draw your attention to this event that Tony and Jerry will be speaking on together in October. Throughout the webcast, if you have questions, there's a chat box there on your GoToWebinar. There's a chat box where you can ask questions, and I urge you to do that. There it is. There's a picture of it. You can just get your questions, ask your questions, and we will get your questions answered either via live chat, or we'll also get your questions answered perhaps by Jerry live. So that's fantastic. Now, folks, I just want to give it another 10 seconds, and we're going to get Jerry here ready. This is Lessons from Tony Robbins with Jerry Robert. It's a phenomenal. I can't wait for you guys to get this. And I want to welcome one more time everyone from all around the world that's tuning in right now. Congratulations on getting a seat. And before I go forward, and before I pass it over to the master himself, let me be the first to introduce the one that needs no introduction, Mr. Jerry Roberts, speaking with Tony Robbins all around the world, now spoken to over 3 million people, and this year alone has gone around the world literally 5 times, and he's got a couple more trips to go. So it's absolutely incredible that Jerry and Tony get to spend so much time together and share so many stages. But folks, without further ado, let me introduce to you Mr. Jerry Robert.
Hey, thank you so much, JG, and welcome to all the hundreds and hundreds of people who are watching this from GoToWebinar from around the world. Many of our friends from Asia and Australia and the UK and Canada and US. Hey, everybody loves Tony, and I'm happy to come and share my ideas on what I've learned from him. And boy, it's going to be an exciting time. And then we're also doing this we're doing this on Facebook Live. We're doing a Facebook Live as well as the global webcast. And so we want to welcome all of you who are watching this on Facebook Live. It's very rare that I do anything outside of what I'm known for. Just give me a quick second here. I'm going to try and sort this one thing out because I think people may want to see me a little bit on Facebook. Or Jean-Guy, can you see my screen now?
Yes, I can see your screen. I can see your screen. I can see you. All is good.
Awesome.
I see you're sporting your nice hat today.
I am, and I haven't shaven. I think my kids are trying to get me to grow a beard, so I'm going to try that a little bit. I'm on my way to Sweden tomorrow for a big National Achievers Congress there, and then I go to London to speak for 1 hour. So, I'm just trying some different things. I got my cool hat, just enjoying a bit of time. I just came back from Australia, and boy, the life of a speaker is phenomenal. You have got to, if those of you who want to speak, you got to pursue your dreams. And one of the things that I talk about all the time is if you want to become a very good speaker, and I'm talking about a profitable speaker, not necessarily a polished speaker. Of course, that's implied. If you're going to become a profitable speaker, you got to become a polished speaker. But if you want to become a profitable speaker, you go and get good at speaking. And how do you get good? You go and listen to people like my friend Tony and others who are masters at what they do. And that's why I am so happy to do this webinar for my friends at Success Resources and the National Achievers Congress promoters, because I don't do anything anymore outside of my realm and my main speech and seminars, which are 8 Steps to Publishing Success and my Publish a Book and Grow Rich Bootcamp. So to veer off course and create this new thing, this particular webinar, I'm doing it from my heart. I'm doing it because I care. I'm doing it because Tony has literally changed my life. And I did a webinar, a video promo recently where the caption is, Jerry Robert hates Tony Robbins. And I talk about what I hate is that he has taught me how to live the life of my dreams, to earn more money than I ever knew I could do it. And then that creates problems because I've got to make decisions now, and I can afford just about anything I want, and I have to hire consultants to help me protect my money and invest it, and all these various things. And of course I'm kidding, but my life has changed because of what I learned from Tony, and that's what I want to do. Is I just feel that as a way of saying thank you to SR, who's his global partner on promoting him, and also to him personally for really wrecking my life. I mean, he wrecked it in the sense that, I'm not the same person I was before, and he pushes me on, it pushes me forward. And if you want to become a profitable speaker, you have to do what profitable speakers do. And there's no better person to learn from than Tony Robbins. So I'm excited to share with you the lessons that I've learned from Tony Robbins, and let's get at it. So I first met Tony. Just give me a quick second here. I just want to go to one quick little thing. I'm just going to move this over. I met Tony in 1987. Do you remember when he used to look like that? Man, look at the pants. I mean, I can't believe that he wore pants like that, but he did. Well, I met him in 1987. I had heard that he had been causing all kinds of issues in the West and in California with his firewalk seminars, and I was very excited to learn from him. I wanted to find out sort of what made him so different. And so he had been gaining momentum, and one of the first seminars he ever did in Toronto, I was there. I attended. At that time, I was just a brand new speaker. I was a motivational speaker. I'd just written my first book called Conquering Life's Obstacles. And I wanted to let people know, I wanted to learn about how this guy, first of all, could have hundreds. At that time, there was 400 people at his seminar, which was huge at that time. How he could get so many people come to his seminar. But then when I went, oh my goodness, I couldn't believe it. It was like a rock concert, man. This guy, you think he's good today. I mean, he's phenomenal. It was so fantastic even at the start, because he was working like crazy, man. And I remember sitting in Millionaire Row, right in the front row. You go to a seminar, always sit in the front row. We call that Millionaire Row. And I went to that Firewalk seminar, man, and I couldn't believe it. He challenged concepts and beliefs. He challenged ideas. He challenged my thinking. He challenged my practices. He challenged my physiology. He challenged just about everything for me. And then this was about a 7 or 8 hour seminar. And then at a certain time, about just at dusk, and this wasn't even in a major hotel. This was in a Greek community center. That shows you how long ago this was when I attended that seminar. It's almost 30 years ago now, and it was in a Greek community center in Toronto. And I went to his seminar. I went to the thing, and right at dusk, right as the sun was going down, it was getting dark. They bring everybody outside, and they show us this friggin' massive stack of burning wood. Well, I almost went nuts. If you weren't paying attention before you went outside, let me tell you something. When you went outside and you saw those hot coals and you think you're gonna have to walk through that, man, you go ballistic. And I, of course, found out later this is the coals for the whole event. I thought I had to walk through that. And he just did something. A mind once stretched never goes back to its original form. And he just stretched my mindset. He caused me to see things I never saw possible. He caused me to dream beyond. He got me to stop worrying about the how and focus on the what, and realize that if I could change so many different things in my life, if I would just be willing to unleash. And I knew it. I knew unleash something in me. I knew there was something that was to be unleashed inside of me. And so I just wanted to find somebody like him who would help guide the path. And from a distance, over the past 30 years, I've been learning. I've been watching him like a hawk. I have been just, studying him, watching him. I watch everything. I watch, first of all, his content. What's he saying that could have an impact on my life, my business, my relationship, my body? I mean, I've lost 140 pounds in the last 3 years. In a couple of weeks, it'll be 3 years. And everything has changed because of this guy. So you want to study his content. I think today, more than just about anybody on the planet, in regards to personal development and in regards to living the life of your dreams, Tony has the greatest, most impactful content around. Then you study him as a speaker, and you watch, oh my goodness, you watch this guy, how he grabs the crowd and keeps them pumped for hours on end, and how he manages his own state. He has just had an amazing impact as a speaker. And then I look at him from a business perspective, how he has grown now to be the number one, not even the category creator, but he's not even on a scale of 1 to 10. He's not a 10, like he's a 400 in comparison to anybody else in terms of his mastery of a speaking stage presence business. From a business perspective, nobody can touch him. So I'm excited to share with you some of the main lessons. And how do you share in half an hour, how do you share the life impact of somebody over a span of 30 years? It's very difficult, and it's been interesting because in reflecting on this, I could have gone on for a day and a half of the lessons. And so, because I do have an opportunity now to travel with him all over the world. In the last year, I've been on dozens of stages with him in different places in Australia and Asia, in Denver and Phoenix, and different places in the United States. We just signed a whole bunch of more dates to do events with Tony. And as JG mentioned, for some reason, they bring me on to speak right before Tony. And boy, that's not easy, I'll tell you that. I think they bring the weakest speaker right before the best speaker so that he looks better. But I have had such a privilege speaking around the world with Tony. And I'll tell you something, when you're in front of an audience and they're all expecting Tony, and I'm on right before him, man, oh man, they are pumped and they are excited. And on one occasion, I had to follow him. I had to actually follow him at an event. So he was on, then I was on right after him. And I thought to myself, man, it's going to be tough following Tony. But you know what? It was one of the best speaking engagements I ever had. I forget where I was, maybe Denver or someplace. and there was thousands and thousands of people there, and he had just come off 3-4 hours of speaking, and then I come on, and I have this joke where I get everybody to stand up and give me a standing ovation, and it's my opening joke, and so I get everybody up, and the friggin' place went nuts. Why? Because he had trained them how to go crazy and really get into state and everything. So everybody sits down. I say the punchline of the joke, and then I hear somebody way over in the corner there, do it again, do it again. And I thought, what? And I said, what? And the guy said, the two people were yelling, do it again. And what they wanted to have me have everybody stand up and scream again, because it's so much fun being in this state where you're at your top peak performance. And so what a thrill it's been. And typically, because I'm on right before him, I have the privilege of staying backstage and watching him from the aisles, or, from the wings. And so, we always make eye contact when I'm in the wings there. I sit there and I just listen, and it's phenomenal to be with him. And it's very interesting from a behind the scenes thing. He's got a security detail that travels with him. I don't know if you know this or not, but these guys are this private security firm that follow him around and make sure that people he's safe the whole time and no one's stepping out of line. And it's just a fascinating life that I've been able to have. And what a way of me saying thank you to Tony by taking a few minutes and sharing just a few lessons that I've learned from this guy. So let me start off. I'm going to go through this quickly. Again, this is not a canned presentation. It's the first time I do it, probably the last. So I want to thank you for coming on, and we've got so many more people who've just tuned in from the internet. While we're doing this webcast online, and just give me a second here. I'll just cancel this, move this over here. Hey, just as we're starting, let me just take a quick poll. I just want to ask you quickly, those of you who are watching on the GoToWebinar system, have you ever attended a Tony Robbins event live? Just type yes or no. If you're watching here on Facebook Live, just send some hearts, and that'll tell me that you have been to a live Tony Robbins event. Go ahead. We're polling everybody. I'm just going to keep this open for another minute or two. Interesting. Let me just tell you, we have almost everybody registered now. I'm going to close the poll in 5 seconds. Give me some hearts if those of you are watching on Facebook. 1 heart for yes, 2 hearts for no. All right, I'm going to close the poll. 63% of the people listening today have never been to a Tony Robbins event, and 37 have. Well, for those of you who haven't, man, you have got to go to one of these events. Let me start now, give you some ideas on the major lessons that I've learned from Tony over the years. So the first lesson number 1, is the lesson of can I. Can I is constant and never-ending improvement. And I learned this, and I guess I knew this to a large degree in my own life, but he articulated the need for people to constantly be learning and studying and growing. And so I think that was very interesting to me. And I know that people in the seminar business always say this, but they're always trying to get you to go to seminars. And of course, they want you to go to their seminars. And I want you to come to my seminars too, publish a book and grow rich. But the reality is, it's because many of us woke up in a seminar. Like something happened inside a seminar room. And so this commitment to a lifestyle of learning is phenomenal. He is always, though, clear about the lesson is not gathering just data. He's got some very interesting strategies and technologies on mastering linguistics. He talks about mastering state, all these various things, and they're good. But it's the doing of that he's focused on. But it's a lifestyle of learning. I bought a book today. My friend Owen O'Malley just wrote a book on investing in silver. Well, I picked up the book. Because it's a lifestyle. You see, you got to always be learning and developing and improving. Many of us need to overcome years of negative programming, and Tony will show you how to avoid that for sure. So the first, just give me a second here. Why is this always doing this? So the first lesson is can I? Constant and never-ending improvement. That's why it's good to go to seminars, guys. It's good to change. It's good to develop. It's good to invest in yourself. I mean, people have big TVs. You know, wealthy people have big libraries. Broke people have big TVs. That should be a lesson. The next lesson, and it had to be right at the start for me, was the need and the lessons of controlling your state. You know, if there is a legacy of Tony Robbins, it's that at the core is his lessons around controlling your state. He said that there are two things that control our state. Two things that if you master these two things, it'll change your state forever. So the first thing was focus. And so the need to decide, if you want to change your state, how you're feeling, your mindset, your energy, your attitude, you got to watch where you're focusing. You're going to focus on the negative or you're going to focus on the positive. There's two sides to absolutely everything, and you cannot focus on two things at the same time. Hey, everybody who's watching me, look at me through your thumb like this. Everybody, look at me through your thumb. Go ahead and look at me through your thumb. Now look at your thumbnail. Now look at me. Now look at your thumbnail. Now look at me. Hey, what happens when you look at me? What happens to your thumbnail? It gets out of focus because you can't look at two things at the same time. Well, when it comes to focusing your attention, you're either going to focus on what's wrong with something or what's right with something. He told me this. He says, what you focus on, what you concentrate on, grows. The only thing that can grow is the thing you give energy to. How do you give energy to things? Focus on them. Talk about them. Think about them. And that applies to the positive and to the negative. And what you focus on will have a major effect on your life. So today, focus on what you have. He's always talking about gratitude. Focus on your blessings. Focus on what's right with your life today. Just think about it. Of course, are there things wrong? Of course there's things wrong. There has to be. But there's a lot of things going right. I've been married to the same woman now for 34 years. I love her more today than I ever did. I got 3 boys and 3 daughter-in-laws that I just adore. I got family members, brothers and sisters who just think the world of me and I think the world of them. I've got a company with over 115 employees, all of whom have a sense of family, who've become my friends. Many of them, most of them started off my customers and then come and work for us. We're attracting more people to speak with us all the time. So if you want to become one of our speakers, you need to send us an email. We're looking for speakers all the time. We're growing like crazy. Focus. What are you going to focus on? I am so grateful for the life that I have, for the friends that I have. I see my friend Donna Kennedy from Ireland here. Hey, Tony Dovale's here from South Africa. 2 just people on my phone screen here. 2 of the hundreds that are watching. Good friends. I've got a chance to live my life and be around solid, beautiful people. So what are you focusing in on? What's not working? What you don't have? So he says if you want to control your state, watch where you're focused. The next thing he shows you, I want to show you this, my little slide. Look how cool this is. Focus. And the second thing is phys. He calls it physiology. I call it phys. Physiology. And you should probably do what he says. He's much bigger than me. I mean, this guy's huge. He's got teeth the size of my head. I mean, just do what he says. But he says physiology has a big effect on your state, on your attitude. So what you focus on and what your physiology, what your body is in like, what your body, I mean, if you're depressed, you're going to be down, you're going to be negative, you're going to, whoever gets up in the morning, looks at up in the sky, takes a deep breath, opens the window and says, man, am I depressed today? You can't be depressed in that physiology. So watch what you do with your body. He says motion creates emotion. Motion creates emotion. So get yourself into a motion-full state. We're so sedentary. We're so afraid to express ourselves. You got to create some emotion. If you're depressed, if you're down, if you're bored, get up, stand up, scream, put on some music, man. Get the Beatles on. Get some music that makes you get up and dance. I promise you, it's going to have an effect on your state of mind. What you focus on and your physiology, that is what you do with your body, changes your state. That was one of the major lessons. That's why you have got to go to Tony Robbins' seminar. And he's coming to London. I mean, I'm here partly because I want you to come to London next month with me. I'm speaking with him in London, and you've got to come to this. And if you've never been to a Tony Robbins seminar, rock concert, he'll change your physiology, man. I'm telling you, this guy is absolutely incredible. I mean, incredible. He'll show you things to do with your body to keep you pumped and excited and feeling hot and feeling good and feeling energetic. That's a major lesson for me. Another major lesson, and it's the lesson of massive action. He said this, that the path to success is to take massive and determined action. Most people take measured, mealy-mouthed action. So they'll try something for a day, for a week, and then they quit. So one of the things that I teach, some of you know this, I'm sure, and some of you don't know this yet. Excuse me for a second. But I have a company called Black Card Books, and we show people how to use books as marketing tools. And so here's just a few of the books that I've received that we published at Black Card Books just this week. Every week we get people who finish their book. Well, it takes massive action, man. You can't get you can't get your own book out without you committing to sticking with it and making it happen. Most people try a few little things. They'll dabble their water. Jump in, man. Bite off more than you can chew and then chew like crazy. This life isn't a practice run. You've got to do, I think, 10 times more actions than you're doing now for most of you. You're going too slow, you're too careful, you're too focused on perfection, you're too worried about what other people say. Get off that. Get moving, man. Get off the couch. Well, not right now. Stay with me for a few more minutes. I got a few more lessons from Tony. The other one, another lesson is his lessons on future focus. What I mean by future focus, and I think what he taught me, is that your past doesn't equal your future. And so I'm saying here that you got to focus on where you're going, not where you've been. Your bank account today only tells us what you were thinking in the last 3 months, 6 months, 9 months. You got to be thinking where you want to go, and stop trying to figure out how. Stop trying to let the how stop you. You don't need to know how you're going to do something. You just got to know that you can do it. And so you move forward. You keep stretching. You keep acting. You keep learning. You keep managing your state. And you get focused on where you're going, not where you've been. You know, this webcast was entitled How I Went from the Slums to Being a Multimillionaire. You know how I did it? By believing that I could, by surrounding myself with positive people, by managing my state, by constantly learning myself, by watching and studying other people like a hawk. I now have a life that most people only ever dream of. Tomorrow I'm going to Sweden. I'm flying there. Of course, I sleep in the front of the plane. I get a bed to go. They put me in a 5-star hotel. I do a 1-hour speech right before Nick Vivicek in front of thousands of people in Stockholm, Sweden. I leave from there. I go to London, England. I'm doing a 1-hour talk in London for a friend of mine, Andy Harrington, who's a phenomenal speaker in and of himself. I have 115 employees. I bring in tens of millions of dollars a year. But I grew up in poverty. I had nothing. My parents couldn't even provide the basics of life, like home and food, without government assistance. And so this is of a guy who grew up on welfare, got kicked out of school when I was 15, and had more problems than you can imagine. Not everybody, but I mean, most of the people in my family suffered from addiction, crime, alcoholism. I shouldn't be here. So what Tony's telling me in this lesson, which is called Future Focus, is to get my eyes off where you've been and focus on where you want to go. And dream big. Most of you should add a 0 to all your goals. You're dreaming too small. So that's my lesson is expand your vision. Think bigger, man. I feel like I haven't even started yet. People my age are starting to think about selling their houses and retire and slowing down. Shit, I haven't even started. We're going to double the size of my company in the next year. We're going to double. We're going to $100 million a year. And so I am pumped. You got to focus on the future. The next lesson number 5 that I learned from Tony, and there he is at the back of a seminar. We're just working on his computer. He said that successful people ask better questions, and as a result, they get better answers. And so, what questions are you asking? Not how much does it cost? How much am I going to make? That's a better question. Not what's going wrong with my life, but how do I make it better? Learn to ask more questions. Listen, always be willing to entertain and stretch and push yourself beyond and get those questions answered. Successful people ask better questions. Why is this always happening to me? Why did he hurt me? Why have I got this problem? How come it's not? Shut up. Start asking questions that empower you. Like, if I was going to win this year, what are 3 things I'd have to do to improve it? What books do I have to read? Where do I have to go? Who can help me? If I was to take the lid off my thinking, how far could I go? How fast could I go? Those are the right kind of questions to ask yourself. All right, so we're about halfway through. Let me take another quick poll here. Just give me a quick second. Let me take a quick poll for those of you who are watching this on the webcast. I want to ask this poll, which is, I want to ask, how many of you not share results? Hold on a second here. Are you planning? Yeah, I want to ask you, can you fill in this poll, those of you who are watching this online? Are you planning to attend? Whoops. Let me see if I can open this poll. Nope, I guess I blew that. Yep, I blew it. I did lie. All right, so I was going to ask how many of you are planning to attend, just to break up this slide a little bit. So I'll keep going instead. All right, now let's talk about lesson number 6. And lesson number 6 is something I learned and have started adopting into our seminars, and that is this. It's Tony's lessons around the must score. I've added the word score, but his focus is, if you can't, you must. And if you must, you can. And so what I get people to do is to think about their must score. He says the reason you don't have your goals is because it's not been an absolute priority. You haven't decided once and for all that no matter what, you're going to get this book. You're going to get your goal, whatever the goal is, whether it's a book, whether it's public speaking, whether it's starting your own company, whether it's throwing the bum out, whether it's losing weight, whatever it is. It has not been a strong must. It hasn't had a big enough must score. This is a book that we published just this week by Andrea from Romania on speed selling. When I met her, she was waffling around thinking about improving her life. I got her excited about the idea of publishing her book. How many of you are watching me right now have ever thought about writing a book and you haven't done it? You know why you haven't done it? Because your must score isn't high enough. And so what he told me, and the lesson that I learned, is that if you want to have something happen, you get yourself in a resourceful state, you stop worrying about perfection, and you make that goal a must. Because if you must do it, you will do it. And you won't do it unless you have a strong must score. So if you think of your top 2 or 3 goals, on a scale of 1 to 10, how much of a priority is it? How much of a must is it? 1 is, I'll get around to it. 10 is, nothing's going to stop me. Nothing's going to stop me. And if you've got that kind of attitude, I'm telling you it'll happen. And how do you get your score to a 10? Start hanging around those of us who are 10s. Get rid of those negative people. Get your boring, dream-killing friends away from you and make your goal a priority this year. The next thing is, of course, if you know anything about Tony, it's living life to the fullest. You know, I don't want to get to the end of my life thinking, I wish I'd have done this, I wish I'd have done that. I want to have a disruptive, sort of exhausting, fulfilling life. That's a lesson that you learn. That's a lesson that you grow by. That's a lesson, a philosophy that you embed into your life, that you want to suck every ounce of life out of life itself. And you ask lots of questions, and you push yourself, and you challenge yourself, and you're willing to invest in yourself, and you're willing to push yourself. Be hard on yourself. Get a mentor and do what he or she says. God, it's been so much fun being around Tony Robbins as I travel around the world, and I see him come into these rooms and just suck the life right out of it. Man, it's so much fun to watch. And then watch him live his life to the fullest, and then me translate that in my own way, into my own life. Listen, life isn't a practice run, folks. This is the deal. The next lesson, and I believe I've probably screwed up the numbering here, but the next lesson is be real and add value. When I say be real, what I mean is be yourself. I was in South Africa, I don't know, just a while ago, and somebody said to me, I'm the Tony Robbins of South Africa. I thought to myself, shut up. Just be you of South Africa. You don't have to be anybody else. You don't have to be him. Don't be me. Just be yourself. And one of the things I've observed by watching him closely, like a hawk for 30 years, is I've watched how he's conducted himself on screen, on stage and off stage. I watch the way he talks to people around him in the back room of our seminars. I watch the way he talks to people in his classes. And if you've not seen, by the way, if you've not seen his documentary on Netflix called I'm Not Your Guru, you have got to watch it. He is just real, and just be genuine. I mean, I think that if you get to know him, he admits his faults and flaws, and he's got many. The guy's not perfect. He's not perfect. But he's real, and be genuine. The next thing is adding value. And so adding value is important. You know what it translates to for me is making sure that you give people your money's worth if you work for yourself. I'm in the seminar business, and we teach people how to publish books and grow rich. We have a seminar, 2.5-day seminar, that's unbelievable. It's worth 10 times what people pay me. And you have no idea what kind of satisfaction I get at the end of that seminar, and people realize this is freaking incredible. I want to add that kind of value. I want to add that kind of value because I learned from him how to add value in his seminars. He gives every drop of energy he has to try and really touch those people in the seminars. He has become a category creator in the personal development area. I've become a category creator in the area that I serve, which is in using a book as a marketing tool and showing people how to use a book to have more publicity and more customers and more income and more speaking and more influence and more publicity and more diversity. There's nobody who can even touch me and my company and what we offer in that sphere, in that realm. Lots try, and there are a lot of knuckleheads out there who come to my seminar, steal my stuff, and purport themselves to be experts in this area. Geez, if they do that to me, I imagine how much they do that to him. But I am just going to keep adding more value. I tell people all the time, steal my ideas all you want. I'll come up with 10 times more ideas faster than you can steal them, because my commitment's to add value. And that has come directly by learning lessons from Tony. Learning the lessons of really caring for people. People are hurting today, man. And so you've got to do what you can to try and help them. In fact, this very webcast and this Facebook Live event is here because I want to add value to people who are coming to hear Tony in October in London. Listen, he was scheduled to do something in Turkey, and I'm one of the investors in the parent company that basically represents him in Asia and Australia and Europe and parts of the United States, and I had heard, and we knew that he was scheduled in October to go to Turkey, and then because of the political issues there, he decided not to go. And so we managed to convince him to come to London and speak at the National Achievers Congress. And you know, I wanted to add value to the people who signed up, and I want to add value to you because I want you to sign up and come and listen to him. Now again, I'll be on right before him, so you'll get a little sneak peek of what I do right before him, and there's many other phenomenal speakers at that event. I'll get you some information about it in a minute, but I'm putting this whole thing on. I'm busy as heck. This is a whole new thing I've done. I didn't need to do this. No one's paying me to do this. I don't get a commission if you buy a ticket to his event. I'm doing this because I want to add value. And I learned the principle of adding value by watching how he conducts his life. And I suggest you do the same. If this makes sense to you, then you'll really consider sharing this webcast or the replay when it comes to your friends and followers. But I'd really like you to consider coming to the event. Well, the last lesson, lesson number 9, is the lesson of decisions. You know, if anything, Tony has taught me to stand strong. To be able to stand alone at times, to be able to say my piece. He said that in moments of decision that your destiny is shaped. One small decision today completely changes your life. One thing that you can just put your foot down on today. Stop doing right now. Start doing right now. Commit to completing today. That decision could not only change your life for eternity, it'll change the life of your family, your company, maybe a country, maybe the world. But you've got to be willing to make decisions. And he said this is really, really cool. Let me show you this. He said people are afraid to make the tough decision because they want to make the right decision. So they make no decision. And guess what? That is a decision. Just think about this. People are so worried about making a mistake. It's not easy making a tough decision. And so we're not taught about how to make this tough decisions. And so what happens then is for so many people, they make no decisions because they want to make the right